Cap to cap.
Like we said earlier, we got our boy Will Gadd, and like we joked around before, we couldn't come up with a title. He called himself an adventurous athlete, maybe, but I'm just going to go with an adventurous badass. That's what we're leaning towards anyway. Will Gadd, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Will?
Hey, great to see you guys. Thanks for having me on. You know, I just want to know how high that beer counter is in the intro thing there, because it's spinning pretty quick. It's like
It's a lot.
Yeah, we started the podcast like 2.5 years ago, so we figured we won't just keep adding it on then. So I'm sure it'll just keep on going.
For sure.
I should have a beer. You guys probably have a beer. I don't have a beer. This is a major oversight.
It's all right, man. You're welcome to grab one if you want, but we're not going to hold it against you, man.
Oh,
and he got one.
He's gone. He's off to get.
We were talking about earlier. He
Best
has
reaction
kids,
ever, by the way.
And he only has like an hour to speak with us, and he's like, I might have to just leave. I get it. And then that's a dad move right there. He's like, wait, I can have a beer? Let's go. Like it.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah,
Cheers. All right, so what we like to do is break the ice, play a little Florida Man. This is where I read an actual Florida Man headline, and you try to fill in one of the blanks that I leave in there. So let me hit the segment, and then the Florida Man. All right, this one's out of Jupiter, Florida. Florida man arrested for blank into Wendy's. And here's my clue for it. It was an action that he threw into Wendy's, as in Wendy's, the fast food chain.
Right. He threw something into Wendy's.
Threw something in there.
We
Anybody
guess what it is?
Yeah, just guess what it is. Just blurt it out if you got something in mind.
You know, probably, this is Florida, so it was probably like an alligator.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? Yeah. Hey, he might be onto something.
He might be onto something.
I don't think
I like
crocodiles.
You're bringing in like the geography of the situation. I like it, man.
And then that Wendy's will cook up alligator hamburgers the rest of the day, so it's
They
perfect.
won't tell it.
Free
It
meat.
has,
Yeah.
You know, it's also Florida, so it could have been one of the Trump family, right?
You never know.
Yeah.
You never
You
know.
never
It's
know,
a
man.
possibility. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
What do you got, Kev?
Oh, man. I was hoping you'd go Chase next. Oh, man. I'm drawing a blank. I'm going to say he threw a baby.
Oh, baby.
No.
Yep.
I hope
Yeah.
it's wrong. I hope Kevin's wrong.
No.
Man, I mean,
That's
it is
dark,
Florida,
dude.
man.
Yeah.
What happens,
it's
happens.
Florida, man.
It's Florida, yeah.
That would not even be the weirdest answer we've had on Florida Man. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that he threw a McDonald's coffee in there. He was like, I hate you, Wendy's, and just threw like a McDonald's coffee at him.
Pretty lame answer.
How did it go through the window? Chase?
Yeah.
The window was open.
Yeah, it's open. It's
Oh,
open.
okay. I didn't know it was
Obviously.
open. I mean,
You thought he threw a baby through a closed window?
yeah.
That
Yeah,
got even
Kevin, that's what I
darker.
was thinking too. I was like, I pictured the alligator or the baby or whatever, like an open window. That's a lot. This is like,
Yeah.
that's a lot less radical.
shit gets real quick around here, man.
It does. Yeah. Florida's a weird state.
It is. I love Florida.
Yeah, we live there. We know.
We all live there. So, yeah.
Yeah, are you guys all there right now?
We're all
Yeah,
there right
yeah.
now,
Unfortunately for me.
No, Florida's a super cool state. I mean, I spent a bunch of time there a couple of years ago. I hadn't spent any time there. I had the best trip ever. It was awesome.
What part of Florida?
Cool. I was in kind of a north central part. I was trying to learn how to cave dive. So Ginny Springs and
Oh,
all that
yeah,
area.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very nice.
it was so beautiful. I was blown away actually. And-
Yeah.
Good.
We all
Nice
went to
people.
FSU, so.
Oh, right on. There you go.
And yeah, that spring is kind of like in between where I live in Jacksonville and Tallahassee. Like that's kind of like the big day trip everyone goes to in Jacksonville is there. So that's a cool spot, man.
It is.
I'm going to take my kids there. Like you could all float down these like beautiful clear rivers on inner tubes, and
Yep.
it just like I pictured as Florida being in Canada. We mostly get Florida man here. We don't get like Ginny Springs and how awesome it is.
Yeah.
Anyhow, go
We got
Florida.
some good stuff. We got some
Yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff.
No, we definitely got some cool stuff.
Yeah.
For this one though,
You can put it on the board.
Somebody got it right.
Yeah.
Somebody got it.
our boy Will Gadd got it right.
No,
way.
It was an,
Will, you
it
got
was
it
an
right.
alligator, bro. It was an alligator.
No.
Absolutely.
Oh, my
Hey,
God.
cheers, brother. It is a
Cheers to
rarity
that.
that
Yeah,
anybody
cheers.
gets a Florida man
It's-
right.
No one ever gets it right.
In the history of this segment, I would say maybe 10 times?
No,
No. You alone, Kevin, have gotten like 5. I'd say a total of 10.
But that's like out of 2 years worth of episodes too.
Yeah.
So
115 episodes.
Yep.
I'm so stoked.
yeah,
That's
I got a
awesome.
little story behind it because it was pretty good for this one. So Joshua James was arrested after allegedly tossing a 3.5-foot alligator into a Wendy's drive-through window. The Jupiter resident pulled up to the drive-through, received a drink from the employee, and then threw the reptile into the restaurant, according to the report. James, who admitted to picking up the alligator along the side of the road, by the way, it's alive, has been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, illegally killing, possessing, or capturing an alligator, and a second-degree larceny petty theft.
And did it say why he did it?
No, I don't. I mean, there shouldn't be any reason. No, whatever
Well, we have
your
to
reason
assume-
is,
yeah,
it's not a good reason.
We have to assume with Florida man what is also associated.
Meth.
Drugs
Yeah,
and meth.
The dude was
Yeah.
definitely high on
Yeah.
meth.
Yeah, so it was
everyone
meth and
Yeah.
alligators.
He probably got fired from that Wendy's for being high on meth, and then while high on meth, grabbed that alligator and threw it through the Wendy's.
You're onto something, Chase. I
You're
feel
a
like that probably
goddamn
happened.
detective.
This is not your first Florida man, is it?
It's not.
Hey, I got a question since you guys are from
Yeah.
Florida. What's with the trucks where the front end is all like my truck's a little jacked up also.
Yeah.
But the front end's all jacked up, but the back end of the truck isn't. You guys see those around?
Not too often, but I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think we all think it's weird too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's weird. There's got to be a reason, right? Like maybe that's where because the
weird.
alligator's in the back. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I do see them around. I question them, but that's about all I got. That's all I got.
It's kind of like I assume like everybody in California have like the hydraulics on their car.
Yeah.
You know, like
Because
Yeah.
you
like
saw
in the old
movies
rap
in like the
videos.
90s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's probably the same thing. Everybody's like, no, nobody has that here, man. Like,
I was just trying to figure that out because it looks
No,
kind
I-
of odd.
it doesn't make any damn sense, Will. That's all I can tell you.
I like that though. I like that's originality and character right there. When you see that going down the road, you don't see that everywhere. So I'm sure
right.
there's a reason. Somebody can fill us in when they watch this. So
That was a nice, polite way of describing Florida. A very original way of doing
Character.
things.
Yes,
Original
we have
character.
character.
We have character and originality.
But I like that. You travel a lot in the world, and it's like Wendy's and McDonald's. It's everywhere in the world, but not everywhere in the world does an alligator go through the window. So like you got to love Florida. Man.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good point.
I love the way you think, man. This is gonna be fun. So I pulled this clip and I'm gonna play it. Unfortunately, everybody listening, they're gonna be like, "Great, Jason, the music sounds awesome," but there was no audio or voiceover. It's from your Wicked Wanda. I thought it was a good way of just opening up and starting a conversation off of this because a good way to describe this video. It is wicked. It is insane what you do sometimes. So I'm gonna have the boys watch this, and then we'll discuss what we're watching later for everybody listening. All right, so there's the last scene, and it shows like how high you're up. So right now, what did we just watch, Will?
Well, there's no alligators for starters because we're in Canada. It's butt cold, right? So this is you got other hazards. You got grizzly bears. Like grizzly bears are kind of the alligators of Canada, right? They're these big bears out there that occasionally like flip cars over and stuff when they get annoyed at you. So they're pretty fierce. But none of that's going on. It's winter, so they're all hibernating hopefully and climbing a frozen waterfall. And I'm pretty stoked on that. I climbed that a couple weeks ago. It was great. It's just. Frozen waterfall, and you can climb it. Yeah, I do it regularly. It's a lot I
have so many questions. I have so many.
Go for it, Kev. I don't know where to start. Yeah, go.
All right, well, I'm
Hit
gonna
me.
start here. First off, I thought it was hilarious that you were like, "Yeehaw!" That was hilarious. You're like, it's so much fun. But I mean, when I think of like climbing, I don't think of like I don't know shit about climbing. No offense, Will. But you literally were moving like a sloth. It seemed like you were taking your sweet time, and
on ice. By the way, he's climbing ice, not like
ice.
not a mountain. I want to make everyone know this is ice. So that's what freaks me out the most.
That freaks me out so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, do you have to go that slow?
No, I'm doing what's called, like, one thing you got to understand about my profession, right? Is like I'm a pro adventure athlete, dude. But what I actually do is pose. That's what I'm a pro at. I'm basically a pro poser. So what I'm doing there is posing down for the camera and everything else.
Perfect. Love it.
And looking around, and maybe they shot it at 60 and backed it down to 30. I don't know, but no, you don't have to go that slow. That's you got to be a professional to go that slow. Actually, it takes a lot. But what you do want to do is kind of not fall off, because if you fall off, you tend to break things. You go bouncing down. So falling off is bad. You do, like you die, you lose. So I've got a rope. For sure.
There's no like one up on that. No, you don't get an extra.
Not like video games where you get an extra life.
No, you're like your health just we're done.
Yeah.
So
were you free climbing that right then?
Yeah, free climbing just means I'm not pulling on the ropes or anything to go up. So I'm free climbing it, but I've got a rope, so I'm not soloing. Like everybody I know that solos a lot ends up dead, and I'm not super psyched on that. I got things to see in Florida yet, right? So so
I've always seen them. So I've only done like rock climbing a little bit, and then mostly just inside gyms. So like bouldering, nothing like going high up. I've only bouldered. And so I've always wondered, when it comes to like the free climbing and like soloing, like, is there anything that a solo gets out of that besides that adrenaline kick? Is there a reason why they're doing it solo versus not? Like, is it just that adrenaline kick? I've never seen them talk about that.
That's actually a really, genuinely like good question. I think that's, you could have like, we're going to need like a 12 pack to get through that question. But the short answer is like, what's cool in life is to do interesting things well, at least for me. It's like, can you do something that's technical and difficult and hard, like whether it's hitting a golf ball really far or climbing a frozen waterfall with no rope, and you have such a high degree of mastery that you feel super confident you can do that without killing yourself. You don't actually, if you're getting adrenaline in that kind of situation, it's a really bad thing. It means you're kind of like out of control. Like you've lost control of your car and you're looking at an accident, you get a big hit of adrenaline. It's not a good thing. Okay. But when you're like in that zone, you're like, locked on, then it's good. You're like executing something really cool. It's like running a good play in sports or whatever. It's like you did something really well. And if you don't do it right, you die, which makes it super important. So the stakes are high, everybody's a climber solo some. So free solo means you're climbing free, not pulling on the ropes, and then solo meaning you don't have any ropes. Okay. And some permutations to that. Climbers will geek out on this for like days, but you're free soloing, and it's you end up doing that. And if it's easy, then you feel really confident, or maybe you've rehearsed it and you feel really confident. But you do enough of it, you tend to, like anything in life, you do too much of it, you kind of end up dead. So you don't want to do too much of that in general.
So before we dive into like other crazy questions, I got to know is how you got into this. This is something we talked about before we hit recording. Yes. Like, what age did you start and what made you get into this? Like, what was your first climb, that kind of thing?
Well, I had a terrible childhood. I grew up in this completely hippie family, and they would drag me out to the mountains every week. And other kids got to like hang out at home and do drugs, but I got to go to the mountains every weekend and go climbing, right? So the other and then I played like every high school sport too. I was super stoked, and in Canada there were like 6 people in my high school, so I got to play all the high school sports.
Nice.
It was great. It wasn't too competitive to make the basketball team. If you could hold the ball, it's like
team.
Yeah, it was.
You showed up for tryouts.
Yeah, it was so cool to have you. It was, but I love team sports too, but for me, these sports, partly probably because they're high stakes, like they're real. And I was kind of a high energy kid, I was like 14 years old and pretty stoked. So I had some background from my parents and them pulling me into the mountains, and then they were just real. There were no like if you did something wrong, like a rock went whizzing by, it was real. It wasn't like somebody blew the whistle and you had to stop. It was like, I almost got killed. I better learn that lesson.
Yeah.
And I needed that, man. Like, I'm not a normal person. I'm not,
It's pretty obvious.
Already. Yeah. So, like some people, they could like, I still play like pick up hockey and stuff like that and play some team sports, but these ones, like, they get control of your brain and they're just really, really interesting. And if you're like an ADD, semi-juvenile, well, not semi, if you're full juvenile delinquent and you need like really cool stuff coming at you, then this is, for me, that's what it was.
Okay.
So I got 2 questions just from watching that video alone. So that video said negative 25 degrees Celsius, which makes me think, what is the coldest temperature that you've climbed in that you know?
Well, like one interesting thing is Celsius and Fahrenheit, they cross at minus 40. And in Canada, it's a running joke. So if we want to say it's really cold out, like if we say minus 30 Celsius, it doesn't sound that cold. But if you say minus 30 American, then it's like really, really cold. Because so, just a little bit of Canadian culture there for you. But I've ice climbed down to about a little below minus 40, but I didn't really enjoy it.
That doesn't sound enjoyable.
Yeah, what temperature do you enjoy in?
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was going to ask, what is an enjoyable thing to do in that type of weather? I don't think there is anything.
Oh, there is. You get inside with somebody you really like, and you hang out. That's what's great.
A man and a woman love each other.
I don't want to put limits around things, alligator, wherever you are, but it's like I don't want to like control it. What everybody does in their own time, that's cool. But but it's like 32 American down to like 5 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty pleasant. 0 Fahrenheit. That's tolerable. Because the thing about like it's kind of weird, but you can put on more clothes. But when you're in Florida and it's like 100 degrees, 100% humidity, and you're nowhere near.
You're preaching to Jason right now, by the way.
Yeah.
This is.
I want to be where you are, bro. I know you don't do anything. You hate life. You hate life in that temperature. I want to be where you are, Will. Like.
It's not that bad. You get used to it. It's not
Answer his question. What do you do if it's 110 degrees with humidity and you're outside?
You mow your lawn and you live your life, man.
You go through heat stroke.
You go to one of the many beautiful beaches.
Make sure that you got a lot of water nearby. That's what you do.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, you can make it work. So, but I mean, for me, it's a lot easier to like work when it's in that like, 0 Fahrenheit to 75, 80, 90 degrees Fahrenheit band. Like I can deal with that. But when it gets above there, I just... You see me in like the puddle, on the side of the sidewalk. Like, oh, look what happened to the Canadian. You guys find it funny.
This is what happens.
But yeah, don't go ice climbing when it's minus 40. You freeze things, and it's just not good. So I don't do that.
So minus 39 and above. Got it.
Above. Got it. Yeah.
That's when I'll do
it's
it.
like,
yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you a story. I was in this big adventure race in northern Canada. We're doing this adventure race where we're like driving these super fancy Lexus SUVs around. And for days, the temperature was minus 42. And I was like, this is remarkable how consistent this is. Well, dumbass, the thermometer only went to minus 42. It had been down to like minus 50 over during the week. And we're like camping in it, anyhow, it was an adventure. But don't do that.
That's crazy.
Speaking of adventure, when I think of adventure, I think about athletes that are doing these crazy adventures like you do, and the peak of those athletes are the ones that are the Red Bull athletes, and you are sponsored by Red Bull. How did you come about becoming a Red Bull athlete? Because that's like pinnacle for me. Those are like the pinnacle. Badass motherfuckers right there.
Hell yeah.
How'd you manage to make it there?
Well, first of all, I agree with you. Every time I get into a room with a group of Red Bull athletes, I'm like, why am I here? These guys are really badass. Whatever they do, they're awesome. So I'm always quite honored and appreciative to be part of that Red Bull crew. But I was actually competing in ice climbing competitions, which are like what you saw in the clip, but whoever gets to the top of the wall fastest or first wins, and there's a whole set of rules. So I was competing in those things in Europe, and I was bringing back Red Bull with me because it was illegal at that point in North America.
What?
Wait, if you drank it was like, especially in Canada, the Canadians are very concerned about Red Bull. At that point, they were like, I know, like it's such low level stuff. But so I was bringing it back, and it wasn't even here. And one of the early Red Bull like people in North America saw this, and they're like, "Would you like some for free?" And I was like, "Yes, please." And that's how it got started. Is I was using it to compete, and then that got going, and they're like, "Do you have any projects?" I wound up like iceberg climbing with them, and then putting together videos, and just one thing led to another, and it's 25 years later, and I think I was the second Red Bull athlete in North America.
Wow,
I'm still here. So
that's awesome. Congrats, dude! I didn't know that.
That's
that
awesome.
Is. Do you know who the first was?
It was my buddy Chris Davenport, and
cool.
He's an extreme skier, cool dude. You guys should have him on. He's a fun guy.
Yeah. I recognize his name. That's awesome, man. I did not know about the history with Red Bull in Canada. I didn't know
I
that
had no
too.
idea.
And then now I didn't know I'm talking to the second sponsored Red Bull of North America. That's freaking cool.
That is ridiculous.
No, but I totally agree with you guys. Whenever I see somebody in a Red Bull hat, wherever, I'm always like, oh, what's that person do? Whether it's like a guy or a girl, I know they're probably doing something cool. And
oh yeah,
definitely doing something awesome.
Yeah, like for me, I put the helmet on and I'm like, man, I'm part of this thing, and I'm really appreciative. It's like being part of a fraternity with a really wealthy uncle or something. Like, it's the craziest shit you could think of, and help you make it happen. So,
yeah. Chase was going over your do I say it correctly? Accolades? I always mispronounce that, right?
Sure.
Wrong.
Yeah, we know.
Sure, why not? But did you mention that you competed in the Olympics as well?
Winter X Games.
Winter X Games. I that's actually even better anyway, because I actually started watching the X Games before the Olympics. What did you do in the X Games?
Yeah, they had ice climbing for a bunch of years, and it was one of the highest rated sports. But it was kind of hard to make the walls stay together. It kept melting down on them, so it just turned into a logistical cluster. So, I won a bunch of gold medals doing they had 2 events: speed, who can climb it fastest, and difficulty, who can make it the highest on the wall.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I won a bunch of medals for that, which was pretty cool. But again, you go to the awards ceremony and you got the best snowboarder in the world, and it was pretty awesome to get to hang out with some people like that.
All I know how to do out of all the things you've talked about with snowboard and on a very amateur level, but I have to assume that these snowboarders and skiers look at you when you're doing it and go, "There's no way in hell I'm doing that." I guarantee you.
It's funny because I get together with the Red Bull athletes. You got the world's best, Kai Lenny, world's best wave dude, right? I got to have dinner with him. I was like, I'm like Kai Lenny, holy shit, and he's like, dude, I would never do what you do, and I'm like, no, I would never do what you do. And then you're at and there's the guy who's the extreme skier, and I went skiing with this guy. I went skiing with Davenport one time, and I was like, holy shit. It looks pretty crazy on TV, but you're standing there and you're looking down and I'm an all right skier, but
they're not going down mountains anymore. They're dropping down 45-degree angle, 180 cliffs. It's just not it doesn't make sense. They should fall off the mountain. They shouldn't be on the snow anymore. I agree.
It's so cool to see it in person. They just stomp this stuff where you're like, wow, I could never, imagine that. And it's just people doing cool stuff is awesome.
Yeah. That needs to be Red Bull's new slogan. It's I won't ever do what that guy does. That's it. That's all it should be, because that's all you guys are saying to each other.
It was a few years ago. We did this event in Puerto Rico, a bunch of Red Bull athletes, and I'm looking around, and I'm super pasty white, eh? I'm like fish belly white because I'm from Canada, and we don't have any sun for 9 months of the year, right? So, and I'm looking around. There's all these just gorgeous girls that are super tan, and these guys who are ripped and tan, and I'm like, I'm like, who are these people? Oh, Robbie Nash, he's pro, best kiteboarder in the world, and here's the best cliff diver in the world. And I'm like, why didn't I get into one of those sports? Tan,
Were you living in Hawaii and stuff?
Yeah. I'm hanging on the side of an icicle somewhere while rocks go by, and these guys are hanging out in the sun and getting tan, and I did feel like I'd made some life errors at that point. But.
I don't know, man. So you climb from ice. I guess you kind of call them ice mountains. Is that correct? Calling them that, or
frozen waterfalls, or ice walls, or spray ice, or Niagara Falls, whatever.
Yeah, and you'll do non-ice situations. You'll actually rock climb and stuff too as well. I saw some photos of you doing that as well.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, we always waited for these giant icicles to touch the ground. That was the idea. Then they were one day we'll climb that. And then somebody had a little genius flash, and they're we'll just climb up the rock and get on the icicle. So that's what we started doing.
Okay. I want to know who the first person to do that was.
The guy, it was a guy named Jeff Lowe. He was a climbing partner of mine back in the day, and he was super visionary in everything he did. He was I don't know how his mind worked, but he just came up with the raddest shit. And he was kind of like a positive Florida man, the weirdest thing you could think of happening, but in a good way. He would laugh at that. He'd be like, "Yep, I am." He would have thrown the alligator through the window. He'd have swam with 12 of them across to the Florida Keys or something. He'd be like, "We'll harness the alligators." But he was awesome.
That's cool.
With rock climbing, I know that most people you walk up this, you see this mountain, you're like, okay, this is the path that I have to go. I mean, ice just kind of forms itself, you know. So like, is it the same thing where you have to like find a certain path, or you're just like, fuck it, let's just go, you know?
Well, I mean, you can't just give her and go, but ice tends to form in like relatively kind of similar patterns. Like if you look at how the water flows down your street or whatever, it tends to, you know, go in the gutters, and ice climbs just go down the gutters in the mountains. So that's one of the cool things about it is like, if you look up at a totally blank wall, there's like no way you're going to climb it. But you put flow a piece of ice down it, and all of a sudden you can climb that wall. Like the most dangerous, weird thing you can think of. You know, like if it freezes in Florida, I saw pictures, and I think it was like actually in North Carolina or something, of like the alligators were literally frozen into the ice.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, there's good ice climbing there. Right now, I should go there and check it out.
Like, wait a second.
In the mind of Will Gadd, I like that. I like
Yes.
But did you see that with the alligators, like with their noses out of the ice, dude?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was pretty cool. And then the other
That's
thing that
awesome.
happens is all the iguanas fall down.
Yeah, the
they all
iguanas,
like
they
Yeah.
freeze.
yeah. It's the two things that we kind of get during winter. That's kind of cool, and we make the news for a good thing finally.
I was so psyched to see that, but like I was like, there is actually ice climbing in the Carolinas and in parts of Georgia, so not too far from Florida. And I saw the alligator picture, and I immediately started looking for where the ice would be. Like you know, I got all these neat features there. So I don't know, but that's what you can do is you can climb straight up the ice on a blank wall, and to me that's pretty rad.
And what kind of tools are we using here when you climb these walls?
Sharp ones, definitely sharp. Like.
Makes sense.
So you've got these ice axes. I don't know if I have one by my desk. We use this caliper here. I'm like measuring shit for product
It
development
looks
stuff.
like
You
an
basically
ice axe to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly like it. So you just swing this into the ice. It's super sharp. It sticks. And then you've got these claws on your feet. They're kind of like grizzly claws. And you kick those into the ice, and you can climb. And it's honestly, I've been doing it for a very long time, and it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like, really, this works? Like, it always amazes me. That's one of the things.
Has anything like come out like technology wise for, you know, ice climbing where you're like, man, I wish I had that 20 years ago, you know?
Oh yeah, it's like everything has gotten way better, eh? Like, you know, heated socks. It's probably not a big seller, you know, but in your part of the world, but where I live, it is dreamy. Like, I wear them for hunting. I wear them for ice climbing. You know, wear them to bed at night when it's cold. I'm getting older. Got my heated socks here.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. They're not in my closet at all.
No, they're not big sellers. They're not big sellers.
I
in
have
Florida.
2 big thick socks for when I go snowboarding, like once a year, and that's all I got. And then they get put back into my bag, and I'll see them again next year.
Or the 2 days a year that it's cold in Florida. Yeah.
Also,
You go out and you can put them over the noses of the alligators to keep them warm. I did see that though, and I was like, "There's got to be good ice climbing there." Like, it's I'm sure there is. So somewhere, somebody's got to do it. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
You guys got to call me next time the alligators get frozen in, so I can come climb some ice.
You're like,
We will
we'll find
definitely call
something
you.
to climb,
Yeah.
right?
I'll take you guys out.
Yeah, if I see him in public, I'll snapshot and be like, "Hey, man,
Yep.
get here now. You got about 2 hours before it melts." Like,
Yeah, right.
2 hours.
I will.
More like
I'll
2
fly down.
minutes.
Yeah.
So I got to ask about Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
So you were the first person to climb it, right?
Yeah, I mean, a few people have gone over it, but I was also the first person to go up it.
Okay, I see what you're doing.
I don't know which way I'd rather. Neither.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, really.
but
Yeah.
What was that like, man? Like first off, how did that work? Did you have to go through a lot of like red tape to make that work? And then was there a lot of people watching? Like, I don't know, man. That I saw that video that Chase said. I think I saw it on YouTube, and it looked wild.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like, it was one of the definitely weirder things and cooler things I've ever done in my life. And,
Yeah.
you know, I called up the park superintendent there, and I was like, "Can I come climb Niagara Falls?" And he was like, "No." No. It took that long for him to answer.
I was gonna say, at least you got an answer. I'm surprised he didn't just hang up on you.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was like, so I called back when he said no, because like that's what you got to do in life, right? Is call back. And so I called back like a week later, and I'm like, "Hey, you know, this is what I do. I'm a professional Red Bull." And he's like, "You're a Red Bull adrenaline junkie, and if I see you here, I'm going to arrest you."
Okay. It's like, now I
And
know
so I gave it,
exactly
like,
who
a
you are.
week. Yeah, he was like, "I've got pictures of you. Like, I'm going to hand them out to my guys." And then I called up again, and there was like an expletive involved, and yeah, it took a tremendous amount of time to basically gain people's trust and you know, realize make them listen to what they wanted, which was good publicity for Niagara Falls, not bad publicity. Like nobody wants to go there in the winter anyhow because it's like cold and that was the perception, but it's actually really beautiful.
Yeah.
And all those ice formations and it's awesome.
I can imagine.
You
So
know,
was
that's the only time I've been to Niagara Falls was in winter. So.
Oh, cool.
Was it frozen?
You're one of
then,
like
too?
8
It
people
was
that
frozen.
have ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
that's
was
really
awesome.
cool.
I loved it. Yeah.
Well,
went for my
and that's
wife's
what's
birthday.
happened now. People have been like, it was funny because all the people who said no, like a few years later, after it went down super successfully, there was a lot of good media attention. I went back and they gave me the keys to the city. They're like, you know, you
That's
got bookings
awesome.
are way up and you showed how beautiful Niagara Falls is in the winter and you did your climb safely. Here's the keys to the city, but maybe don't come back anytime soon. They were awesome. And that, you know, those park police guys, they're dealing with some heavy stuff, right? Like people show up and they don't just go there to sightsee. Some of them are going over the falls and they're dealing with a lot of stuff. These guys have you know, and they don't want to rescue like the random ice climber dude. That's not really their program. But, you know, they came around and we worked together really well. A just great group of people. And, they got a lot of credit with me. They're solid.
So
awesome.
So there's 2 locations that I want to bring up. First one is Kilimanjaro. How was that one, man?
Well, Kilimanjaro is a pretty cool place. Like top of Africa, there's ice in Africa. That's almost as weird as ice in Florida, right? Like,
Well, honestly, I'm very ignorant when it comes to just kind of geography. So when I saw your videos, I was like, wait, huh? Like I didn't. It didn't register at first.
Yeah, me neither. I was like, there is no ice in Africa, and then I saw
I'm not going
pictures. So I'm not going to go though. It's like Florida. There's no ice. Why would I go there? Except to learn how to cave dive. I actually want to come back there and finish some more cave diving courses in Florida. You guys have some of the best cave diving in the world in Florida.
When you get down here, I can't remember. It's been so while. We talked about that on the recording. I can never remember if we talked about it before or after we hit the record button. But yeah, when you get down here and you're there, let us know because that's like skipping a hop from my place, man. That'd be awesome.
Right on.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Beautiful area. So
sure.
But like ice in Florida, ice in Africa, no way. So I want to climb ice on all 7 continents. So I was trying to find a place in Africa that would work. And there's like lots of ice in Kilimanjaro. I had this map and there's like a giant ice cone. And so I just bought a ticket basically without any more research, you know. It's honestly, I just kind of like, if it seems cool, I'll just go do it. I didn't overthink it too much and showed up there and there was still still ice up there, but it was like I walk over the top where there's supposed to be a giant glacier and it's just sand, right? It looks like a Florida beach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's my ice? And it was kind of and I've got a video crew there and it's a fair amount of money invested and a lot of it is gone.
Yeah.
So we ended up finding some really cool pieces of ice, some wild features to climb. They look like icebergs in the desert, but I just got really curious about what was happening and why. Like, why is the ice on top of Africa disappearing? Is this natural stuff? Is it man-made? And kind of dug into it. And then last year I went back after 5 or 6 years to help some scientists there, particularly a guy named Doug Hardy, figure out what was going on. Like, why is it going away? It's because it's not just warmth. It's not that much warmer there. Like the tropics aren't really changing that much. It was a cool trip. Got to climb some crazy ice and learn about how the world works, which for me is pretty cool. Like, why did that guy throw the alligator through the window? What was going through his mind? I want to know.
I saw that video because it was a before and after where you climbed this. Was that the same trip where you climbed the same glacier where it was like, I don't know if you want to call it a glacier, but it was like a quarter or an eighth of the size from the first time you climbed it to the second time you climbed it? Was that the same trip?
Like half the ice had disappeared, or more than half the ice had disappeared in just 5 years. So things are changing really quickly there, and quicker than they have historically. So then you start looking at causes and why, and I don't believe in beating people over the head, and I just want to show people what's going on, and they can make up their own minds about it. We live on a super cool planet.
Man, there's a correlation between people like you that we've had on that are just awesome people. We had Dickie Chevelle. He's a shark expert. You probably seen him on like Discovery Channel Shark Week. He's a cool dude, and he said the same thing about like just keeping the waters like clean. But he was like, I don't want to be aggressive and yell at somebody about like polluting. I just want to inform them in a polite way, so maybe it'll kind of get in, and then they'll teach the next person. It was almost identical to what you said. So I think that's really cool to hear someone else say the same like approach of how they approach like situations like that, man.
Yeah, I don't want to be like, it just doesn't seem to work real well. Whenever I've called somebody out and been like, you're being, we're all, it just, you got to meet people where they are and You know,
Yeah.
hopefully people look at that and they go, wow, things changed really quickly. And maybe that has a little bit of an impact. And then you got to also recognize that I'm a full hypocrite, right? Like I flew there in a jet.
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna be calling out other people when I flew there in a jet.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah.
But you're
But I could do,
bringing
like-
like the awareness to it though, man.
Exactly.
Like those
Yeah,
videos and the
exactly.
view counts on there blow up, and then people see that, and then I show that
Yeah.
to my wife, and then my wife showed that to her parents the same
Oh, that's
night. I was
cool.
like, this is so like,
And we talk
if
about
that
it here on the
impact-
podcast.
and we
right?
talked about it on the podcast. So if,
Oh,
if
thanks.
4 or 10 people like hear it, I think it's a good thing, like a domino effect. So
For sure.
yeah, and
I
I
get
hope
it.
so, and I hope it's a positive thing, you know. And people,
yeah,
you know, I've changed some things around in my life, try to do things a little bit differently, have a bit less impact. You know, I'm only going for a 3-inch lift in my truck. I'm not going 6 this year. But I mean, it's like, I joke about it, but it's like we can make little changes that do make a difference. And it's not like we have to stop doing everything fun in life. We just
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
reduce a bit. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm coming at it from.
I love it, dude.
How many people tell you that you are exactly like Paul Rudd? Because you remind me so much of Paul Rudd. I don't know. It's crazy.
Really?
I rewatched all the Marvel movies. So, you know, Ant-Man is fresh in my mind. Bro, it's crazy. It's crazy to me.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
I like it.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thanks, man.
Normally
Go
he
Paul Rudd.
bashes Paul Rudd. So I was like, wait, are you going with a negative approach
Oh,
here?
here we go.
Yeah.
Here's where it goes bad.
Yeah.
I think he's funny, but also like, you know, high energy guy.
Yeah.
You know, and you kind of look like a skinny version of him. I'm not like bashing you. He's
Kevin just sounds like a dick right,
Right.
now.
I'm a
bro.
dickhead.
doing
I'm out of here. I'll talk to y'all later. I'll take the rest of the episode off.
Yeah.
No, you're good, man.
Yo, you briefly went over this, and I want to go back to it. I saw all of our eyes light up. So you have a goal of climbing on each continent. So did you hit that goal?
No, I still got to climb ice in Antarctica. And I was planning to go there. You know, a few things happened globally. There's this little virus. You guys might have heard about it.
Never
And,
heard of it.
Nope.
Yeah,
Never
it's not very. You know, when you look at the news, there's nothing on it. But
Yeah.
not to make light of it, it's kicked some people's asses and
Yeah.
been hard on people. So, but no, I mean, with that we couldn't go this year. So I'm hoping to go in January back to Antarctica. I've never been there, and to help some scientists do some research again. I'm trying to do. I just find it really interesting, like how does stuff work?
Yeah.
I'm kind of a nerd, so I could nerd out a bit and learn some shit in Antarctica. That would be pretty cool.
Are you like when you say
awesome.
you help out the researchers? Is that because you can get to spots that like the researchers can't get to? Like, are you doing that
Yeah.
kind of stuff for them?
Yeah, so I've been actually partnering with a guy from Florida named Jason Gully. He's a professor there. Awesome guy, and getting underneath the Greenland ice cap, underneath the Greenland ice sheet to figure out how the water moves through it. Like you always read the headline, Greenland melting.
Yeah.
And all that water like goes along the surface and goes down the hole. Like, I don't know if you guys had those like things for hamsters when you were kids with the tubes that
Yeah.
hamsters,
Yep.
habit hamsters or whatever, I forget. But so we're kind of like the human version of that. We've been going down the holes in Greenland after the water's out of them in the winter, and then exploring these systems down there. And it's cool. And scientists don't really have a lot of information about how water moves through these systems.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to help them out with getting in there and figuring it out.
Yo, that's so cool.
That is pretty
Crazy.
badass, actually.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I sorry, Chase. I was gonna say because
go
at FSU, when I started there at a meteorology degree, their school, there's a basement, and a lot of people don't know about it. There's a little like freezer room, and they have samples from Antarctica in that room at FSU, and you go in there, and it's like negative whatever degree in there. So I was like, that's when you were saying taking samples and stuff. I was like, I wonder if any of his samples are at FSU, man. That'd be cool.
Maybe.
But
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Maybe one day.
yeah,
I'm wondering. Jason Gully, the guy I'm working with, he's a professor, and he's at Florida State. I'm not sure exactly which location or. So you could have been seeing some of his samples. I'm not sure
Maybe.
that's where
That's
he
crazy.
works. So.
it's not something that most Florida State students know about. It's just not like it's not a museum. It was just for the students, and it was one of our first intro classes, and we were in there, and I just remember going in there freezing, and I remember it was the coldest I've ever felt in my life. So that just sprung up my like memory for it. So that would be gnarly if that was the case.
Yeah, no, he
Crazy.
could totally.
Small world.
He's one of the top glaciology and sort of cave research guys in the world, and he's based in Florida. So
Okay. I mean, I'm definitely doing research once we
Yeah,
get off
yep,
this
yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Have him on. He's awesome, and his images and stuff are cool. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so I'm trying to help. Is it kind of a sports science partnership? But I've done 3 of these projects now, and I'm doing another one in Baffin Island in northern Canada this summer. So pretty fired up on that, and Antarctica, and then probably another one locally. I've been working with people getting underneath one of my local glaciers and checking out how the water moves through there. And yeah, hopefully you're not there when the water comes in, because that would be bad.
Touche. Chase, sorry, what were you gonna say? I interrupted you, man.
No. I was just gonna say, what's the most difficult climb that you've ever done?
That's a good one.
So I had this girlfriend in high school on the 3rd floor.
Okay.
And
I like it. Go on.
I mean, I don't know that's an interesting question. I don't know there's like the hardest rated climb, and then
What about the
climbs
most scared? The most scared.
Yeah, that's a good
Would
one.
that be
Yeah.
would that be better? Or you're like, I'm scared every time?
Yeah, well, there's if you're not afraid and you're doing this stuff, something's probably kind of wrong with you, right? Like you kind of want to listen to that fear and be alert to it. But
Yeah.
I mean, the climbs for me, I'm always looking forward. Like the stuff I've done, I don't look back a whole lot. Generally, it's like, what can we do that's cool and interesting, and go forward. So the stuff I've climbed, it always seems sort of easy in retrospect because I did it, right?
Yeah.
It's like the challenge is going forward.
Yeah.
Done. I did a climb in BC. If you imagine like cutting a stadium in half, and it's like 500 feet from the floor of the stadium to the roof, and there's a waterfall pouring off the roof. And then the spray from that waterfall gets blown and stuck to the underside of the stadium roof. So I did a climb that was all the way across kind of the roof to the waterfall. It's frozen stalactites and these cool dangling pieces. And that's probably the hardest, coolest thing I've ever climbed.
That's
but Niagara
insane.
was neat too, because we worked so hard at Niagara for like 2 years. And then some stuff in Europe I've climbed that's pretty fun. And I don't know, there's so many cool things to do.
Bro.
I don't want to ask the question that everybody asks, but I'm gonna ask it. Have you ever fallen?
Oh yeah, that's why you use a rope, right? Like you fall, you don't want to die. So I generally climb with a rope.
Yeah.
And then when you fall off, it's kind of like you're on a bungee cord. And as long as it's steep, like steep stuff's actually like safer to climb because you fall into the air, and then the ropes are super stretchy. And it's safer. It's when you fall off of like low angle terrain and you go rattling down it that you tend to get hurt. So I like really steep, hard climbs because if you do fall off, it's kind of weird.
I never thought of
So-
it that way. Like everything that you climb is kind of straight up and down. Well, not everything, but most.
Yeah,
of
or
things.
overhanging. I like it when it's overhanging and you're swinging around out there.
You're like, oh well, so let's do it again. Come on, let's start all over.
So how many pull-ups in a row can you do? I feel like you got to be able to do like 30, 40 like easily without even trying.
It depends how I do them. If I do them good and clean, like shoulders full extension, bar right into here, and I'm like they're super clean, and I'm not swinging around the bar like a spastic. It's that was probably an impolite thing to say. I'm swinging around the bar like a poorly coordinated human,
Like a CrossFitter. You're like butterfly like crazy.
I had my era with CrossFit, and I'm super psyched. CrossFit's awesome in some ways. I learned a lot there. Like I'm not going to hurt my back picking up my kids because I CrossFitted for a bunch of years. But the pull-ups, I gotta say, those are pretty soft. You can't do that.
We get bashed on that all the time. It's like you do pull-ups. Nah, you don't do pull-ups. I was like, yeah, you're right. They aren't pull-ups.
But you know what? Like your average CrossFitter is like they're trying so hard, and I had some great years in that program and learned a shitload. So I'm not gonna, I'll make fun of CrossFit, but there's a time when I'll sneak into the box in some city I'm in for sure.
There you go.
It's kind of like a guilty pleasure. It's like, do I have my board shorts? Am I?
You get it. You get it.
Oh, dude, I got scars on my shins too. So I'm with
Boxes.
you.
Those damn box jumps, man.
Yeah,
They'll
well,
get
box jumps and deadlifts when you do it wrong.
yeah.
You're like, I'm going to snatch it. I think I lost a tooth one time trying to we'll go into that.
I snatched once and hit my nose and I had a bloody nose, but I have a big ass
hey?
nose. So yeah, it happens, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're right in the same country.
We got big nose crew, bro. We're good.
Your ancestors might have been French too, but don't tell anybody.
I don't know, man. I'm sure of it though, but whatever it is, they got a big nose, man.
But no, I mean, train hard and do your best for sure.
Yeah,
Whatever
I was
you do.
gonna
So,
say. What's up?
No, I don't really know. I mean, the best I've done with like good clean form, like when I was training really hard for that, I think the thing I'm more proud of than the number is like I did a pull up with like 185 pounds or something hanging off of me, or maybe
What?
it's more than that.
What?
You just blew
What?
Jason's mind. You just blew his mind.
Bro,
It
I
was a lot
felt
of
great
weight.
because I had a 55-pound weight hanging from me, and I did 4 of them. I was like, let's go,
Dude, that's
bro.
pretty good actually.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
solid.
but I don't need your like, I don't need you over here
No, it is.
patronizing me.
If you could do that, if you could do 5 with 45 or 50, you
Yeah.
probably don't weigh that much, dude. So you're probably pretty close to a 1-arm pull-up at that point, I'm going to guess. If
I've
you could
never
do
tried
5
one, but now I'll try one tomorrow morning. I'll let you know how it goes.
Dude, if you could do 5 reps with 55, and I'm talking, you can't do shitty reps with that.
Yeah,
amount of
no,
weight on
you can't be able to kip. You're just gonna blow your back
No,
out if you're
you'll,
blowing
like,
around with
your arms will
Yeah.
disappear. What happened to Jason? Your arms are-
Yeah, he's being an idiot.
Yeah. But no, dude, you're close. You're actually super strong if you could do that. Like, honestly, no bullshit. You're
He is
gotta be
don't-
close.
Yeah, don't float his ego any higher than
sorry.
it is already.
Dude, I know you got to go with your kids and everything, man. I just want to say I appreciate you coming on and spending the time that you did, man.
Absolutely.
Everything you do is awesome. Keep doing what you do for climate change and getting the awareness out. I respect that, and I respect what you do, and you're a badass.
Likewise, guys. Thanks a lot. It was a lot of fun, and I really hope I get to meet you in person sometime. And let me know when those alligators are freezing in. And that was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we'll get to
I will.
climbing.